Dr. Linda Wilson's book, and I think it's really relevant now for obvious reasons. And I've asked her to run a presentation on tools and strategies to be able to manage stress, anxiety, and isolation. This isn't just for you. This is for your family. This is for your team, importantly as well. If you're not thinking about your team's level of stress and anxiety amidst all this change, you're not really showing up as a true leader. Linda's the founder of a multidisciplinary clinic in Melbourne, specialising in psychological and neuroplastic principles to facilitate rapid change. And she's going to talk about the 10 strategies to stay emotionally and mentally healthy. She's going to give you access to 7 free resources, and she's going to get into the 3 things you and your team can start doing right now. I highly recommend this session. But before I hand over to Linda, let me just give you a bit of context. So you're about to sit in on a session from one of our crisis reinvention team, but let me give you some quick context. When COVID started to seriously impact businesses, we mobilized experts from within the Dent community to be able to help business leaders like yourself navigate the difficult decisions across a variety of topics, including how to access finance and grants, to cash management, to human resource law, to marketing and sales strategies, to cool tools and tech that you can use from home, through to high stakes leadership, health, wellness, stress management, not just for yourself, but for your team, and look, a whole lot more. For the full schedule, with more being added every week, visit dent.global/reinvent, and we hope you find it a useful resource. All right, let's do this.
Hello everybody, this is Linda Wilson, and I'm here as part of the KPI Crisis Team initiative that Glenn and the team have all come up with. Sad to be meeting you in this way, many of you, but hope that today is of huge value to you. Please have a pen and paper. I'd really love for you to take any notes that feel relevant for you. Grab a drink of water, glass of wine, a scotch, cup of tea, a coffee, whatever blows your hair back, and let's get stuck into my presentation, which essentially is all about giving you some tools and strategies to manage stress, anxiety, and isolation. I'm going to share my screen with you now. You will hear me rustling papers, etc. There is an enormous amount to get through, and I want to make sure that I keep this as succinct for you as I possibly can. Okay, so I don't need to introduce myself again, but essentially my purpose in life is to help people to use their minds in a way that ensures that life for them is what they would hope. And especially in times like this, we all need a little bit of extra support and extra help in terms of managing what's actually going on within our own minds. General disclaimer, what I'm going to share with you today is not to be construed as medical advice. If you have any concerns whatsoever about your mental and emotional well-being, please go and connect with your regular healthcare provider and advisor. The topic today is tools and strategies to manage stress, anxiety, and isolation. I'm going to go through 10 tools and strategies, 7 free resources that if you connect with me, I'm happy to get those out to you in some way. It may be something that Glenn is able to do. We can work that out. 3 responses that you can actually participate in right now if you're in the thick of it. And I'm going to answer 5 frequently asked questions. So, persistent stress and anxiety are a red flag, and we should be paying attention to the red flags in our life. After all, we want to be feeling like this most of the time, or at least some of the time. But at the moment, many of us are kind of feeling a bit like this, right? I have absolutely had my moments, and then we can also start to feel a little bit like this, which is just as devastating in many ways, and then we can go and do silly things like this to try to dampen down and suppress the way that we're actually feeling. And every once in a while, maybe that's okay, but it's not pretty. So emotions are one of the main topics that I'm going to be focusing on today. So everything kind of leads back to how it is that we can manage our emotional and mental well-being to stay safe and well during this period. So you'll hear me talking about emotions, etc., and I will continue to keep on coming back to them. So 10 strategies and tools. Let's get started. The first one is to use your body. This is not rocket science. We all know that movement is very, very powerful in terms of us processing stress and anxiety during times when we're feeling those feelings, emotions, and sensations. What happens is when we move our body, we are actually processing the adrenaline, the cortisol, the other neurotransmitters that are causing the actual sensations and feelings of stress and anxiety. We're actually processing and metabolizing them out of our system as we move our body, as we exercise, which means that not only are we moving through those feelings that are caused by those neurotransmitters faster, but we're also offsetting them by creating really powerful opposites to those neurotransmitters. So we're looking at the serotonins and the dopamines as a balancing and a counteracting to the cortisol and the adrenaline. And what this does is helps us to feel calmer, it helps us to feel more in control, and it helps us to actually feel as though, okay, I can focus now and I can get on with doing what I need to be doing during this time. There's a study that I want to share with you from the Mayo Clinic. It's come out fairly recently, and basically it just underlines all of those things. So my primary focus is about your mental and emotional well-being, but we can get to our mental and emotional well-being by using the body in lots of different ways. Exercise, of course, is one of those. The other thing that you can do is make sure that when you are exercising, many of us are kind of setting up these dream exercise routines at the moment. When you are exercising, don't expect yourself to be an Olympic winning athlete immediately. Please set small goals. We are going to talk about goals a little bit later on. Please be gentle on your body to begin with. If you aren't already fit and healthy physically, now is not the time to suddenly start doing those cartwheels and handstands. Build up to it. Let's be smart so that we don't hurt ourselves physically. Get outdoors. There's so much study around how nature actually also helps us to dissipate those feelings of stress and anxiety and aloneness, of course, because we are seeing other people, albeit a lot less than perhaps we would ordinarily. But when you are outside walking around the block, walking around the lake, doing whatever it is to move your body, you're also connecting with other people just with a smile, with a look. Very, very important. Psychosensory tools. It's part of what I've used in my practice for many, many years now. In fact, from the very first day I opened up my clinic doors, psychosensory tools are what I used to help people create change in their life. Psycho meaning mind, sensory meaning felt by the body. That's all that means, is that we're using the mind and the body to change what is currently there. And we're using our conscious awareness to shift the brain and the body into a state that we would prefer rather than perhaps the state that it's currently in. And I want to talk to you about the primary tool that I have used. Some of you have actually experienced this tool with me. For those of you who have never heard of it, it's called tapping and EFT, and I just want to very briefly tell you about a recent study that has been published. It's part of the resources that I can provide with you. Dr. Peter Stapleton at Bond University in Queensland has just completed and released this study. Group tapping for 1 hour reduces cortisol, which is the primary stress hormone, by 43% by using tapping, which is a psychosensory tool, in a 1 hour session with a small group. No drug is going to give you that drop in cortisol. So for any of you who are feeling stressed or anxious, this is an incredibly powerful tool. As I said, no medication, no drug is going to give you the same effect unless you are unconscious. So I do include that information in my resources page. The third tip or tool is to actually map out your day. Okay, structure and frameworks create a sense of safety for all of us. It gives you a direction, it gives you a focus, it gives you a plan. It allows you to hang time frames around your day, which for many people are very, very important. And it does actually also alleviate stress and anxiety, because action cures fear. If we're actually taking steps in the direction that we want to go in, then we're reducing the negative emotions that we might be feeling. And we're also establishing patterns of behaviour that are helpful to us. Fourth tool, smarten up. What do I mean by that? Smartening up is something that entrepreneurs do automatically. We're constantly in a learning state. Smartening up is really about, what is that course that you have wanted to do for the last 10 years but haven't been able to? What is that information that you've wanted to take on board but you haven't actually had the time to do it? Is there something that you have wanted to study? Is there something where you've wanted to really broaden your understanding and your knowledge? Now is the time. If you are stuck in your home, what we need to be doing is bringing in the kinds of resources that help us to feel like this time can still be productive, it can still be worthwhile, it can still be fun, it can still be entertaining, and it actually helps us to feel as though it's not time wasted, which is really important when you are managing upset emotions. Now is the time to do that. Number 5. Utilising your memories. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because it is very important, and memories are an extremely underutilised resource. I want you to think about your memories as though they are a library. So we have a lot of memories in there that I don't want you to necessarily focus on, but we tend to focus on them anyway as human beings. That's our negative memories. But what I want you to actively do to help you manage your stress and anxiety and feelings of separateness or aloneness is to go to those memories that actually provide you with a sense of happiness, a sense of calm, a sense of peace or fun, or any positive emotion that actually allows you to shift state. So it could be a memory that you have of a really incredible fun time that you had with friends. It could be a huge success that you had in your business. It could be a connection with a partner. It could be the birth of your first child. It could be sitting on the beach and just connecting with yourself. Whatever the memory is, I want you to bring it to life in high definition detail. There's a reason for this. What we're actually asking our brain to do is get super focused. And when we're super focused, we can only focus on one thing, and all the other stuff kind of falls away as a distraction. And that's what we do want, right? When we're feeling stress and anxiety, we want to be able to focus on something that's helpful. And powerful, positive memories allow us to do that. When you have some time, close your eyes, go to that memory. Notice how it makes your body feel, and notice that it can actually shift your state from a negative one to a positive one. We underutilize this library of positive memories that we have, and it is a very powerful resource that you can have wherever you are. It goes with you. So dip in there, use it often to help you shift out of a negative state and into a positive one. Pay attention to the time of day, the temperature you were feeling, the looks on the people's faces around you. Whatever that memory is, get very, very into the details. Bring it alive inside your mind and your body, and you'll be very pleasantly encouraged and surprised at how it can really shift the way that you're feeling. Do it often. The more often we focus on these positive memories and experiences, the stronger our neurology is to those memories and experiences, and the faster we can actually bring them into our conscious mind and change our physical state. Number 6 is using all of your senses. And you can do that when you're going through the experience of a powerful, positive memory as well. So your senses include visual, auditory, kinesthetic and touch, taste, and the sense of smell. I'm sure most of you have that memory that is triggered by, say, walking down the street and you smell something in the street, maybe a bakery, maybe a coffee, maybe spices, and you are immediately taken back to a previous time in your life, perhaps when you were traveling or something positive in your life. Use all of your senses in this way as well. Become very mindful about using your senses. So if you are having your cup of tea or coffee in the morning, spend that time really smelling the coffee, tasting the tea, feeling the warmth of the liquid or whatever it is that you're consuming. This works just as well with cold drinks and foods and smelling of perfumes and feeling sunshine on our skin, etc., etc. So use all of your senses as a way to shift your state as well. We can't be hugging strangers at the moment, but we can certainly be hugging ourselves. We can certainly be hugging family members if they are close to us. And we can certainly be remembering how positive and powerful a hug can feel from someone that we love. Number 7 is to breathe. And I know that this, again, doesn't sound like rocket science. So many of these interventions are actually extremely simple but powerful. Breathing is that's a stupid thing for me to say. Breathing's important, right? Of course it's important, but it's important for a number of different reasons. One, of course, it keeps us alive as an organism, but breathing is also a signal to our brain, and this is what many people forget, particularly when they're going through that stress and anxiety or feeling quite down. When we are stressed or anxious, we tend to shallow breathe. We tend to tighten up through the chest area, through the throat, through the shoulders, and we tend to shallow breathe. This is a natural part of an anxiety or a stress response. The dilemma with that is that sort of closing down of the breathing system means that our neurology responds to that as well. And the neurotransmitters that start to be released are the ones associated with more stress and more anxiety. When we slow down our breathing, when we expand out the breath that we're taking, when we breathe it in slowly, hold it for a period of time, and then breathe it out slowly, we're actually sending a signal to the brain that we're either sleepy or we are calm. This is a way to hack the normal response within our brain when we're feeling stressed or anxious. Very, very simple, very, very powerful. You can see that I've put 3, 5, 7. What I mean by that is you can take a deep breath in for 3, hold for 3, and blow out for 3. Or you can do that to the count of 5, or you can do that to the count of 7, or whatever feels comfortable to you. This is not about holding your breath like you would if you wanted to, be underwater for half an hour. This is about just soothing the system so that we are actually calming down that neurological response to stress and anxiety and actually guiding ourselves into a state of calm. Do this safely. It's pretty obvious. I would say try and do this while we're sitting down or lying down. You can do it standing, but just in case you get a little bit dizzy, something like that, take care of yourself, people. Number 8, choose your poison. What does this mean? It means unsubscribe, switch off, take a break, chill out, all of those things. At the moment, we are being bombarded with information, and a huge amount of it is incredibly unhelpful. I want you to think about what you are actually feeding your mind and your body at the moment. There are certain pieces of information that we must stay up to date with, but there is a lot of information out there that if it never entered our lives, we would be better off for it. Is there sources of information that you are currently going to which are adding to your sense of panic, your sense of doom and gloom, your anxiety, your stress, your sense of aloneness? Get rid of those sources of information. They are not helping, they are actually harming. Find resources that actually help to build you up, that enable you to feel more positive about life. And I have included some of those in the resources information if you choose to reach out to me to grab that. So choose your poison, make it good. Choose what you're putting in there. It will make a huge difference. Not only will it make a huge difference to you, but for many of my clients, I've also advised them to switch all of this off in front of their kids. Children don't need to know this information. I've got some great resources for kids as well to help them manage their stress and anxiety, because they are being completely overexposed to information that is really having a great impact on them as well. Number 9. It's a great question. What are you learning about yourself? Be curious about who you are in this situation. For many of us, we have never experienced anything like this before. For those beautiful people out there who are introverts, this may not necessarily be a great change to how they're experiencing life. But for many other people, particularly the extroverts, this can be an incredibly difficult time. So be curious about yourself and ask yourself that question: what am I learning about me? In the same way that we check our business for weaknesses, we've seen a lot of that with supermarkets recently, right? In the same way that we do an audit of our business to make sure we plug all those holes, we need to do an audit of ourselves as well to find out where it is that we're actually vulnerable. This is a great time to do that. Number 10, lay your foundations now. You'll hear it not only from me, but probably from every other person out there, that now is the time to really be getting ready for when the lights come back on, from when we're all let out of our houses, from when our clients return, from when everybody is back out there doing their thing. And now is the time to really make sure that the foundations for yourself and for your business are absolutely rock solid, so that when the sun comes out again and we open up our doors and we leave our houses or our places of work, our clients return, we are 100% ready to go. There are so many free training platforms out there, and this is part of the Smarten Up section that I talked about. One of those, for example, is lynda.com, which is now connected to LinkedIn. So much training we can do, so many holes that you can plug, resources that you can build. Glenn's video about not just being active but building assets, fantastic resources that can help you to continue to grow during this time. 3 things to do right now. I mentioned the breath. I spent quite a bit of time discussing that. If you are in the thick of it right now, please focus on your breathing. Focus on a positive memory as you breathe, and feel that positive memory as it changes the state of your neurology, changes the state of your body. Connect and celebrate. I can't emphasize this I can't emphasize this enough. We are physically distancing, but we do not have to be socially distant. I know Natasha Hawker also mentioned this. Get online with people, have virtual dinners. I'm lining one up with friends of mine. We're all going to cook the same meal. We're all going to have the same drinks and wine and whatever it happens to be, and we're going to sit around and celebrate with each other in the way that we have traditionally done. Because keeping those rituals in place, those connection habits in place, those ways of celebrating in place as much as we possibly can at the moment, gives our mind and our brain a sense of normalcy as well. Wherever we feel quote unquote normal, we can also feel calm, and our system recognizes that as a degree of safety. So wherever we can build those things in, organize to get it done and do it now. And a bonus thing here is a focus on gratitude. Sometimes it can feel a little tricky to know what you can be grateful for at the moment, but I want you to get really serious about this. When we focus on gratitude, it accomplishes a couple of amazing things. The first one is that when we focus on gratitude, our entire being, our mind and our body, recognizes that as happening right here, right now. And again, it creates a sense of calm, happiness, security. It's a framework. It's something that's familiar. Wherever we can create that sense, we are bringing safety into our system, and that helps us to deal with stress and anxiety. Focusing on gratitude also just means that we are dealing with those feelings of perhaps a little bit of helplessness or hopelessness, because we do have something that we can really mindfully focus in on again to change that neurology that occurs with stress and anxiety. Gratitude can be for something as simple as the sky being blue today, the garden looking stunning, your cup of coffee being just perfect this morning. It can be very, very small things that help you to stay focused on what you can be grateful for in this situation. 5 frequently asked questions. So to process emotions, going back through those top 10, that's what I'd like you to do to help you to process those particular emotions. And the next one I'm going to go into is to procrastination, because procrastination can be, a real time waster when we are at home, just as one example. When we have the structure of our workplace, of our office, wherever it is that we generally hang out, we can often tag our actions and our productivity to certain time frames, certain structures within the business or organisation, responsibilities to other people, etc. When we're in a situation such as we're in at the moment, often all of those cues for our productivity habits go down the drain. So let's go through some stuff around procrastination and why it is that we procrastinate. Emotions. I told you I was going to come back to emotions a lot during this presentation. Emotions have a huge impact on our procrastination. So getting on top of the emotions that you might be experiencing is a great way to get back into productivity. So we want to practice procrastination, not procrastination, okay? This is how we beat procrastination. And we have to have emotional congruence to actually be able to do that. We need to be sitting straight and feeling strong within ourselves to get stuff done. So the 4 anchors of procrastination are that our goals are too high or too low, we have an unclear focus, we have no action plan, and those mental or emotional barriers that I keep coming back to. So setting appropriate goals, super, super important. Sometimes when we're in a state that is really different to what we normally recognize, so we're at home versus in the office, for example, we set these huge, massive goals that fantastic if you just want to daydream, but they're completely useless in terms of getting you started. And the goals are either too high or the goals are too low. And this information comes from one of the platforms that I use called YB12. So what I'm wanting you to really focus on is setting goals that have a realistic time frame given the constraints of our situations at the moment. We're not operating in an ordinary way for many of us, and therefore the way that we approach our goals also needs to change. And I want you to set some goals that have some pretty instant benefits, because when we are successful, when we can tick the box at the end of the day and feel successful and feel productive, it goes a long way to helping us manage our stress and anxiety. So get a clear focus. If you're wanting to stop procrastinating, you must have a clear focus. You need to know where it is you're going. So these are some questions that you can actually ask of yourself. What do I want? Why do I want it? How will I get there? Who can assist? These questions are fundamental in terms of giving you a sense of where it is that you're going. Here's some more questions. Actually asking yourself, am I actually focused on this thing? Am I able to eliminate distraction, or am I just setting myself up to not be successful? Whatever it is you're choosing to focus on now, I want you to have a certain degree of certainty around being able to actually succeed at what it is you're focusing on. We want to build in that safety mechanism. I'm not saying don't challenge yourself, but I am saying be realistic. Have a destination, understand this changed landscape and how that might challenge you, and be prepared for ups and downs and the unknown. And also, do you know what to look out for along the way to keep yourself able to maintain that focus? Create an action plan. Okay, this is not rocket science. So many of these tools are super, super simple. When are you going to start? Where is it that you actually want to get to? How are you going to do it? And who can assist you? Some further questions. Do I know what to do first? Do I know where A and B actually are? Do I know when I've completed something to the best of my ability? Do I know who my resources are? So who are your people in relation to the goals that you're setting, the focus that you're setting, the action plan that you want to put into place? Who are your people that are going to support you to get there? And do you know how to get yourself back on track if some of those distractions creep in and get you unfocused? This action plan that you're creating for yourself will actually help you to get there and to stay on track. I do not have enough time to go into appropriate goal setting. Many of you have got ways of achieving this just because of the type of people that you are. But I'm just going to read through this little list here because I think it's really important. The goal has to have a powerful emotional significance. We keep coming back to that concept of emotions and how it is going to change and influence our perception of stress and anxiety and the sense of isolation. So any goal that you have to set, that you've decided to set yourself, must have emotional significance. It must be important enough to you. Set goals that are just on the edge of difficult. Remember I said be realistic. This is also about setting goals that challenge you at about 4% more than you would normally be challenged, because that actually helps to keep it exciting, but you don't lose your sense of certainty as you are moving towards the achievement of that goal. Being emotionally congruent, again, I think I might have doubled up there a little bit. Understand that almost anyone could achieve the goals that you're setting for yourself, the minute little tasks. But the difference is that you understand why they need to be achieved for you to get to your end goal. So that's part of that emotional congruence, understanding what your focus is, setting up your action plan and sticking with it. And a really big part of this is that you actually review and reward yourself daily. More so than ever, for us to feel productive, we need to be able to kind of tick off the list. So if you have successfully done 5 things today, if you have successfully rested today, if you have successfully meditated today, if you have successfully been kind to yourself, loving towards your kids, had some time off, make sure that if those are the things that you're wanting to achieve, that you actually review, recognize, and tick them off as having been done. Reward yourself with those accomplishments. Our emotions are all the way through this. So be aware of your emotional state in relation to procrastination and goal setting. Those are the things that are definitely going to get in the way. But if you set yourself up with an understanding of your focus, your action plan, and your goals are clear, you're going to go a long way to shifting through the emotions that come up. A big thing that's happening for my clients at the moment is how they can actually support their kids. I did mention in terms of children, clean out the stuff that is in front of them in relation to what's happening out there in the world at the moment, particularly the news, all of the programs that are on at 7:30, you know what I'm talking about, all of the drama, all of the hype, all of the get rid of it. Use the same tools that I'm using, that I'm sharing with you. They work just as beautifully with kids. Tapping in particular is brilliant with children, and there is amazing online resources to teach you how to tap with children and with yourself. Set up their day in the same way that you're going to set up your day. Set up your children's day. Give them a framework. Give them a sense of safety. Keep your promises in relation to time-framed activities. So if you're saying, okay, I'm going to disappear for an hour and a half because I need to get some work done, set them up to be successful during that time. And if you say an hour and a half, whatever it happens to be, make sure that you keep your word in relation to that. Thank your children when they do give you what you need to continue to get your work done. Acknowledge their wins and acknowledge the family's wins, and ask them how perhaps it could happen and be done even more successfully, what would really work for them. In the resources that I have, but you can take a note of it here, is the Big Life Journal. There are some fantastic things, free creative resources on that site that you can download for free, and that become a really powerful way to keep kids on track, because we're all going through this, aren't we? So this is some of the resources that I mentioned, the research in relation to Dr. Peter Stapleton. There's a lot of resources on my own website. There's a study from the Mayo Clinic about the impact of physical exercise on our neurological processing, Big Life Journal for Kids, and something that I found on Facebook called the Kindness Pandemic. Really a very powerful resource for you to dip into, to see that they're really, human beings are incredible creatures, and the stuff that we are doing for each other at the moment is really, really wonderful. It will help you just to feel like, you know what, we're doing okay, and I think that's really important if we're feeling stressed and anxious. So, keeping in mind, we all experience mental and emotional challenges. Every single one of us go through the ups and downs of life, some more than others. So again, I want to reiterate, please reach out and ask for help. You do not have to do this on your own. Take action. If you are aware of yourself not managing at the moment, I've included there the Lifeline number 131114. They also have a crisis chat option if you go to the Lifeline website. 1-800-RESPECT for anybody who's experienced domestic or sexual violence. That is a helpline specifically for that. Beyond Blue, of course. There are many telehealth services out there, including for psychologists, and of course your regular GP or your regular allied healthcare practitioner is also a place for you to go when the going gets tough. Do not do this on your own. Reach out and get support and help. Okay, everybody, that was a bit of a whirlwind tour. Thank you so much for your attention. I really hope that that has given you some ideas and has been helpful. And please feel free to connect with me, and I'll organise to get you some of those resources as soon as I possibly can. Going to stop sharing now. So take really good care of yourself, everybody. I'm thinking of you all during this time. And let's stay connected and reach out, as I said, where you need to. And good luck. I'm going to see you on the other side. Bye for now.
For more expert talks, just visit dent.global/reinvent, because we believe that the decisions that you make now matter more than ever. We started Dent 10 years ago in the middle of the GFC in London, and we shared the key person of influence methodology as a tool to be able to help businesses thrive despite the chaos. Today, it's a best-selling book, and over 3,000 businesses use the methodology like an operating system for driving performance. And we've learned that regardless of economic conditions, that your primary focus as a founder should be showing up as the go-to brand, the key person of influence in your industry. More important than systems or social media, more important than Facebook videos or launching a website. The goal of showing up as the key person of influence in your industry should be the organizing force. It should be the primary objective that helps align all your other decision making. Because as your influence and reach expands, it becomes easier and cheaper to attract clients, team, media, even investors. When times are tough, it's the key people of influence that become even more valuable and even more in demand. And if you've been in business for a while, you're probably a lot closer than you think. So every week that this COVID-19 thing continues, I'm going to be hosting a weekly talk to be able to help business leaders like yourself recalibrate their focus so they can make the most of the times that we're in. If you're interested in jumping on a Zoom and saying hi with me, you can find the link to register for my sessions as well as all of the crisis response team sessions at dent.global/reinvent. If you found this useful, let us know. My name's Glenn Carlson, and please be brave, have fun. Let's go make a dent in the universe.